Here she comes with her husband, Liz Truss, her husband alongside her. Let's listen in.
Can I hear?
I came into office at a time of great economic and international instability. Families and businesses were worried about how to pay their bills. Putin's illegal war in Ukraine threatens the security of our whole continent, and our country has been held back for too long by low economic growth. I was elected by the Conservative Party with a mandate to change this. We delivered on energy bills and on cutting national insurance. And we set out a vision for a low-tax, high-growth economy that would take advantage of the freedoms of Brexit. I recognise, though, given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party. I have therefore spoken to His Majesty the King to notify him that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party. This morning I met the chairman of the 1922 committee, Sir Graham Brady. We've agreed that there will be a leadership election to be completed within the next week. This will ensure that we remain on a path to deliver our fiscal plans and maintain our country's economic stability and national security. I will remain as Prime Minister until a successor has been chosen. Thank you.
Well, what a shit show it has been for the past 6 weeks. What the fuck is going on? I knew since day one that this would happen. I knew it. And I think some of us did. And I don't care what she said. I think she's bullshitting most of the time. She doesn't care. You can see it in her eyes. She doesn't seem like she's fazed about the whole thing falling apart in front of her. She looks like she's seeing it as a corporate side of it. Who sees that as a fucking corporate? That's bullshit. What the hell is going on in that parliament? That government is losing morale. And to be honest with you, when I saw the news that she was coming out of office, I actually cheered. I was really happy about it. Don't get me wrong. But after reading and researching and watching all these videos about the situation, it's just turning into a complete and utter shit show. It's getting worse, and it's just it doesn't even stop there. I knew Jeremy Hunt was going to be a problem. I knew that for the past few days. Apparently he's not much liked at the NHS, and I think he was originally the boss of the NHS, and I think obviously he left. That's turned it into a much situation that over there, there's no communication. What the fuck is going on? You're telling me and the public that you're still going to help the country, even though you're making it worse for us. And then if you watch the video, footage of what's been going on, and by the way, if some of you guys are American, this is a complete and utter shit show. And I know I keep saying it, because I'm telling you, when you see this footage that I've recorded from Twitter, you are going to be shocked how bad this country has got. Sorry, I just kicked my desk by accident. But it's really bad at this point. No one in this country gives a shit anymore. There's people who actually want Boris back, and that's even worse. He's broken the rules, and now there's rumours that, or there's information that Liz Truss has now broken the same thing. I've been saying this for months. The Conservative Party are a nightmare. They're no longer fit to govern our country. There's just no way. It's like literally the Republicans and the Democrats. Both sides are just as bad. But Labour, they've been planning this for years. They've been making sure that this would help. They would make sure that things would work. To be honest with you, I've been listening to all the parties that have been talking, and the ones that are really, really, really interested to help. I've been talking to, that's the wrong word. I've been listening to people like the Lib Dem leaders and the Green Party, and also the ones from Labour, obviously. They really, really tell you that this is ridiculous. This is at the point where our country is a nightmare to live in at the moment. For some people who are from the US and they live in this country, you know what I'm talking about, because like it's at the point where I think inflation's like at 10% at the moment. I think it's going to grow to about 20% by December. We are getting worse as the seconds go by. And people say that it's the events. I don't think so. I think it's the seconds at the moment. And I think the king must be appalled. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's kicked her out of office, actually. Generally would not be surprised. He would be probably, very polite about it. But honest to God, I bet you he's had a lot of debates about it, probably off camera. But first of all, I want to show you what I mean.
Well, what a mess. And this is not just a soap opera at the top of the Tory party. It's doing huge damage to our economy and to the reputation of our country. And the public are paying with higher prices, with higher mortgages. So we can't have a revolving door of chaos. We can't have another experiment at the top of the Tory party. There is an alternative, and that's a stable Labour government. And the public are entitled to have their say, and that's why there should be a general election.
Some sympathy for Liz Truss, her time in office pretty humiliating.
The damage that has been inflicted on the public through higher prices and mortgages is considerable. This is not a soap opera. These are real lives that are being impacted by the mess at the top of the Tory party. We've had this revolving door. We've had these experiments at the top of the Tory party. The public are entitled to choose between this utter chaos and a Labour Party which will stabilise the economy and have got a clear plan for growth, for living standards and for jobs of the future. We need a general election so the public can make their mind up about this utter chaos.
Isn't there an argument that a general election might actually prolong the instability to an outcome of that general election? Do we need more instability now, or just a chance for a clean state and just to stabilise the ship?
The risk at the moment is continuing with this chaos, not having a stable Labour government. So that's why there should be a general election. We can't just allow the Tory party to keep putting up the next candidate in the middle of this chaos. There is a choice. There's a Labour Party that's capable of stabilising the economy, has a clear plan, and the public are entitled to choose between that stable Labour government and this utter chaos of the Conservatives.
Are you ready for government? This is not the context you would have wanted to take over.
We are ready to form a government to stabilise the economy and implement a real plan for growth, for living standards, to help people through a cost of living crisis. And that's the choice now, a stable Labour government or this utter chaos from the Conservatives.
The event of the last couple of hours, weeks, months, you could say years, has demonstrated that the Conservative Party are unfit to govern. The chaos they've created through their ideological movements by Truss in her mini-budget, the untold harm that's caused to the economy. And let's not forget the harm that it's caused to people in their everyday lives. People were already struggling from the cost of living crisis. And now there's more and more uncertainty. People are really living in fear about what it means for them. We cannot allow the Conservative government to yet again, a very small pool of people choosing who runs this country from an increasingly small pool of people with the talents to do so.
So you're basically saying the Conservatives had their chance to try to create a fresh start when they chose Liz Truss. That hasn't worked out yet. There isn't a mechanism, is there, for a general election to be called? It's within the gift of the Conservative Party. It doesn't look like the Conservative Party, their MPs are going to vote for that to happen or say that should happen when the party is doing so badly in the polls.
Yeah, I recognise, of course, that we're in a parliamentary democracy, and so it is not constitutionally required to change, to have a general election when they have a change of the leader of government. However, it is very clear that the Conservative Party have lost the trust of the vast majority of the public. They've really lost the authority to govern nationally and internationally. And now with Jeremy Hunt as Chancellor, he's clearly laying the groundwork for bringing in a second round of austerity, which will be massively harmful. You know, I'm a local councillor in Bristol. I've been a councillor since 2015. And so I've seen firsthand the horrendous impacts of the first round of austerity on government spending, including local government spending, and it really hampering the ability of local government to provide essential services to people that are struggling, even services like preventing homelessness. And yet, with no electoral mandate whatsoever, Jeremy Hunt is trying to bring in another round of damaging austerity. He's simply not got the votes to back up those policies.
Yeah, he has said that public spending will rise overall, but of course there's been no commitment, has there, to that rising in line with inflation, which would be a cut in real terms, just to explain to our viewers. But same question I put to Ed Davey a couple of minutes ago. As a political party, you know, were the conditions such that there was a general election as a possibility, you would be chomping at the bit to get out there and campaign. So, but with that looking unlikely, it seems, what's your strategy now?
Well, yes, we are ready for a general election, and we had our party conference just a couple of weeks ago, a few days before the Conservatives, and the contrast couldn't be more stark. The mood in the Green Party conference, a journalist reporting from there described it as calm. It was really focused, and we're all really pulling in the same direction. We've got a fantastic set of policies, including some more that were adopted at that conference, and we're really raring to go to get more Greens elected in Parliament, because whichever party is in government, if we can get a few more Green MPs in Parliament, we can pull that government in the right direction, keep them on the straight and narrow, and make sure they're passing policies that bring us towards a fairer and greener country.
I think it's time that we do something about this. We need a general election, but the trouble is, it doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. This isn't going to help, but I've been fearing this for a few years now. I'm starting to see signs of dictatorship in our leadership. I've been seeing it for a while. I can see signs of it, and that's how fearful I am. They are that delusional, they think that they can walk all over us. I'm scared for my future, for a young individual who is 26 years old, and I'm having to use all my saved money that, by the way, I do not work, and also who is in supported living. And by the way, I have autism with severe, I wouldn't say severe learning difficulties, but I should say with learning disabilities. And to be honest, one of my friends who does all this, say like Matt, for example, he's having to pay a lot of money to basically keep his home going. You see, we pay, on average, much more to live in this building. And I can't remember the average, but my mind's telling me it's like over nearly £1,000 or something like that. Just for everything. I think it's like over 1,000. And like, that's a lot for me and my friends who live in this chaotic world. It's insane. Like, this shouldn't be happening. Should not be happening. But it is. And by the way, I knew, as I said before, I knew that Liz Truss is a laughingstock. And she is a laughingstock, to be honest. I made it very, very clear about a month ago that she was. And she is, to this very day. Like, a lot of people in Parliament were laughing at her because she crashed the economy twice. And it's getting worse. Now we got Jeremy Hunt. Personally, I call him Jeremy Cunt. Because he is such a cunt. I know a lot of people don't like the C word, but believe me, he is. He's ruined the NHS. And in case you American viewers have no idea, or any country, or any viewers around the world see this, basically the NHS is our national health service. And that's been under a lot of pressure for the past 3 years since COVID hit. And I'll tell you now that our country is at the point of collapse because of people like Liz Truss and people like Boris Johnson. I do genuinely believe that this country is under a lot of threat because of people like them. There's too much selfishness in this country. Way too much of it. There's too many people who think that people who have originally bought in, say like Boris Johnson, out, they want to back in. What the fuck are you thinking?